Alright, now instead of doing this and sending every single message to everyone in the world, what we need to do is I want to make sure that, for example, if I ignore someone, he cannot see my message. Like, if I send a message right now, it will show it to everyone, regardless of being ignored or not. It will not let me remove the message, trigger it on, trigger it off. It will not let me do much. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I can actually interact with this world's message as if it's an actual extension of the usual chat system instead of like a standalone system. So that means I need to make sure that it actually connects. To do that, I need to be able to access every player's message individually. Like that, I can frame a message, I can format a syntax, I can do whatever, but I cannot access every player's message individually. To do that, I need to make sure that I can access the player's session and interact with the session of each individual member. That is possible if we do for loop. What we do is we actually replace this one. Now this is a syntax, you don't need to worry about memorizing it. Session map constant iterator, we call itr equals s world get all sessions, and we begin getting all the messages, all the sessions. Basically, we just defined what is the beginning of all the server messages are. If itr, which is the variable we just made, is not equal to s world get all sessions end, which basically creates the loop itr plus plus, increase the session by 1. It will not, okay, let's assume we have 100 players. If we have 100 players, we define itr to be equal to the beginning, which is 1. I mean, in development, 1 is like the second number, the first number is 0, but for this purpose, the first number is 1, right? If 1 is not equal to the final number of all the sessions, which is 100, increase 1 by 1. That will equal to 2. If 2 is not equal to the final session, which is 100, increase 2 by 1, which is 3, and so on, and so on, and so on. So what we can do is we can basically see how this logic creates a loop. When this is not being answered, when this is over, when itr equals to the end session, this loop will stop. But until then, as long as this one is not equal to the end, it will not stop. What we do here is we make sure that the player can actually be accessed. To do that, we're gonna be naming it player, and we can call it plr because player is taken by this one. plr equals itr second get player. In case we need to add protection like we added with this one, just to be safe, if no itr, no, actually, if itr is empty, if no second, since we're in a loop, because we do not want the loop to stop because it hasn't found a single member. Like if we have 100 players and it hasn't found a single member, we do not want the entire loop to stop and skip all the 99 remaining players. we have the ability to skip this very specific member, this very specific player, by adding continue instead of return. When we add return within a loop, it will stop the loop. This is being cancelled, it does not exist. But if we do continue, it will simply skip this specific player that hasn't been found, even though it has been listed. Alright, so what we're able to do from here is to access each player individually. So we can make sure that if the player's name is svlands, like our name here, it will say something else. It will do something different. It will behave differently. But no, what we want to make sure is that if the player that used the command, which is the player here, and we want to make sure that the player who receives the message, which is this one here, is ignoring the first player here, it will not send the message. So what we do from here is we basically do this. If player, now if PLR gets social, has ignore on player get guide. In order to access the player's list of what he has ignored and what he does not, we need to make sure that we get his social no, where is it? Yeah, this one. The social tree or whatever. No. This is exactly why we have has ignore or has friend, because of these two. Has ignore this one. So in case he does ignore the individual, we will basically say that this message can be nullified. This equals nothing. Empty the message. It will not be sent to the player. And here we add if this message is empty. No, sorry, if the message is not empty, it will send this message. Because here we define the exact opposite of this one. As long as the message is not double quotation marks with no text in it, it will send a message. But if it will not equal to this. However, if it is equal to this, it will not send this message. It does not answer the new condition that we just added. So in case we ignore someone in the game, it will not send the message. However, if that player is a game master, if that player is a game master, obviously we cannot ignore a game master. So, and player get session get security is not equal to 0. No, equals to 0. If the player's security level equals 0, 0 means it's a player. Player is rank 0. If the player is not rank 0 and has someone else ignored, that ignored person will not be able, the ignoring person will not be able to see the message. However, if it's not rank 0, the message will not be ignored. It's very simple. It seems a bit complicated, I know, but it will get easier the longer you get used to it. As long as you play with it yourself and you figure out the errors and the issues and the crashes by yourself, it will become significantly easier over time. Now, I'm gonna compile it, see if we have any sort of issues whatsoever with it, and then I think I will finish the video over here, and we will be able to go continue on to the next part. For now, we can do other things as well. We can have a standalone muting system within this server. We can have actually no, let's add a censorship into it. If there's any message that is not your own domain, it will not work. We're gonna do that after we test this one actually works. Give me a sec. Oh, it still works. If I have a .com domain, let's do it here. No, let's do it here. If str. This is a command that detects if there is some sort of string or text or whatever within the message that we're about to send. Within if there is a .com you know what? Fuck that. No. I'm not gonna do that. Alright. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Gonna continue another time.